Hello, guys. Welcome back to the show. We were just here not too long ago, so a few days ago, but we're back like I said we would on Friday. I hope you guys been having a good week so far. Welcome back to the show. This is AnimeInkArt Live Talks, where we talk with different creators in the community about their journey in content creation and how we can support each other better in the community. So let's make sure we add a few people in here. We always like to go on our Instagram and our Discord, and we just like to go in our different, we have different channels and we like to share it just so people, whether they watch it back now or they get to watch it currently, they're aware that we're going live. So definitely let's get a few more people on here, and then we'll introduce our lovely guests that we have tonight. So today we have very special guest Ethan Murphy. So they are the founder and the creator of Echelon novels, or also known as Echelon graphic novels. So it's an amazing Black indie publishing company that creates amazing, comics, graphic novels, and the like for us that's diverse, that tell diverse stories, and they have different genres, whether you like, sci-fi, whether you like, badass, mad scientists and cyberpunk, whether you like horror, anything that you could think of, fantasy, they have it for you guys. So definitely, they are a returning guest. They're here to talk about all the new developments they have within the company, including their major project that's out now, which is titled The Gambit Volume 1 Trade Paperback. So definitely we're going to talk about that and everything else. And let's get them on the show and let's get it started. Hello.
Hello. my Lizzie wave in there.
How are you?
I am very well. I'm very well. Did you call me lovely? Your lovely guest?
Yes.
I've never been so honored in my life.
Well, yeah, it's always been a pleasure since the first time, and then we had our interactions at Virtuous Con. It's always great, and then we had a lot of interactions since then. Shout out to Captain Diesel for reaching out to me, saying that you guys wanted to come back on the show, to talk about everything that's been happening. It's been a lot going on, so I'm happy for you guys.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah. Captain Diesel and I, we love Anime Inc. All right, we love you more in particular. You and Lizzie, we love being on this channel. So thank you so much. You are definitely one of our favorites by far.
I'm flattered by that. But definitely for the people that don't know who you are and what you do, definitely share that now.
Sure. Just as Lizzie said before, I am a lovely guest. No, I'm a writer and the head writer and creator over at Echelon graphic novels, and it's basically my job to try to help people bring their stories to life. Everyone has a story of some kind, but most of us have no idea how to get it from conception to creation. And it's kind of my job to facilitate that with the story, kind of managing and organizing the team, and just making sure that the person that wants it to be taken care of, that wants to actually have their story brought to life, is done the way they want it. They have their voice heard.
Yeah, definitely. So definitely for the people that may not have seen the last show, well, I actually wanted to do a little twist on it because I never got to ask how you came up with the name for Echelon graphic novels. So that's part of it, like how you came up with the name. But for people that don't know your background, in writing, you went to school for media arts, creative writing, and you have a background in it before you created the company. So for those who may not know your background, and then what inspired the name for, your company before we get into how it started?
Sure. So as you know, Lizzie, I am very, very, very old. When the Big Bang happened, I told them to quiet down in my front yard. And so when I was growing up in the 80s, I was watching all those kinds of wonderful little kids cartoons like G.I. Joe or Transformers and He-Man or what have you. And one of those 80s cartoons, I can't remember what it was. I think it was He-Man. I believe Skeletor said to He-Man as He-Man rushed right into his a super bad guy lair. And Skeletor started laughing maniacally, and he said, "Welcome to the upper echelon," to He-Man. I believe that's how it went down. But that always stuck with me as far as that's a really cool thing for a villain to say to somebody is "Welcome to the upper echelon." So I wanted to kind of have a name that kind of evoke that idea of regal air and fun, essentially.
I feel like you guys have definitely accomplished that, and it's like I definitely ask as well because I know Cap does a lot of when it comes to the media and the promotion as well when it comes to the company, because they have their YouTube channel and everything like that. And in one of the videos, they did mention, you guys are the echelon when it comes to the different stories and stuff like that. So that kind of inspired me to ask like the name, because I was like, oh, that actually works, especially for the quality that you guys give to the stories.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, yeah. Captain Diesel. He's obviously he's amazing. He's out there doing crazy, wonderful things with his book too. He's very much like the actual he's the one who should be here. He's more the actual spokesperson for us. It's like having a. I'm basically Robin. You wanted Batman, you got the other one. So, yeah, I love it.
That's awesome, man. I wanted to ask, like, let's go to the early days of like when you started the company, and what inspired you to finally take that plunge to start the publishing company?
Sure. Long story short was I went to a comic book convention in 2008. Yes, because it was right before. It was the summer that Dark Knight was coming out,
Mm.
and Dan Didio at the time, who was the head editor of DC Comics, was there. I stopped him. I recognized him. I stopped him. I said, "Mr. Didio, I'm trying to get into creating stories and telling stories, everything like that. How do I do this, basically?" And he, of course, said, "What you need to do is more or less create a simple, little, basic mini comic." And I said, "Well, if I'm trying to be a filmmaker, if I actually trying to have my stuff made into movies like that," and he said, "It doesn't matter.
Mhm.
And I guarantee you, people are going to start wanting to adapt comic books, graphic novels, that kind of media into films and everything else." He said, "Okay." So basically, I was trying to figure out the best way to create or adapt my ideas for movies. And the best way was to make them into actual graphic novels or comic books first. And of course, along the way, I fell in love even more so with the medium of comic books and graphic novels because of that. There's a lot of autonomy that you have, Lizzie, when it comes to making a graphic novel or comic book as opposed to making a film. There's so many other avenues you got to go through, and so much red tape and so many other hands in the kitchen. When it comes to all the money that's involved with making a movie, but when it comes to actually making a comic book or graphic novel, it's oftentimes it's 99% your story. What you want is on the page, and it's a very, very gratifying. Did I answer your question at all? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. No worries. I love when guests ask me that, because it's like I always feel like you guys answer the questions. No
Okay.
worries.
Want to double check. Want to double check. Not make your job any harder than it already is. I got you.
No, you're good. No worries. So definitely, I just wanted people to know, like, how well like diverse you guys are in terms of like just a publishing company, because you guys are set yourselves aside from like other companies in which you guys help others create their own independent graphic novels, like anything from like the consultation, whether they need some of your talent that you guys have as well, if they need like letterers, inkers, different artists as well, because you have multiple artists that are well known in different aspects of the sphere, whether it's Marvel or DC or like all these different Dead Space, all these different areas, as well as, so from start to completion, you guys help other creators publish their stories. Because, like, for example, I saw on your page, Locker 19 Productions, like, that you guys helped them with one of their stories that they were creating, their graphic novel, Dig Two Graves. So that's like an example of how you guys help other creators and they get to share the fruits of their labor, in collaboration with you guys. So I wanted to ask, was that always the plan at some point to have these services? What was the process to get to this point of helping others, create their own graphic novels?
That's a great question. That's a great question. So no, it definitely was not the original conceit or plan. I moved out to. I'm originally. I live in California, Los Angeles now, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
originally from Virginia, from the South,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to be like a filmmaker, more or less. I, and in pursuing the idea of trying to make movies or things of that nature, I of course had to find funding. So along the way, I'd be fortunate enough to get opportunities to write for different studios sometimes, whether it be actual comic book companies, like I've written for DC or for Platinum Studios or Malibu Comics, those kind of things, those kind of companies, smaller companies, bigger companies, or if I got a chance to write actually for screenplays or scripts for actual studios themselves, like Legendary Pictures, I had those opportunities as well. But the idea was that I was trying to do everything I could to finance making my own comic books, making my own graphic novels. I wanted to have my own IPs adapted into either animated series or movies. And it kind of transitioned from adapting or writing things from bigger players like studios or what have you to other people who were like us, like Blurs, or the people, other indie artists, or just young people that didn't know how to go about having their visions brought to life. They had their stories, but they had no idea how to actually get them on the page, so to speak. And so it is bizarrely enough, more and more people kind of started coming to me, wanting to have me help them. And over time, there were so many people that wanted that help that it became kind of a natural transition to go from actually doing it just a little small on the side or part time to do it full time. And
Yeah.
with Charlie, because Charlie and Otis, I guess another friend, of course, the show we met
Mhm.
at Virtuous Con, Otis East.
Mhm.
They're the co-owners of the company, Otis and Charlie, the three of us, and we've
Mhm.
kind of made it our mission to basically help making sure that no one ever has to feel that they're alone in their journey to create their piece of art.
Yeah.
We're all out here, blurs and non-blurs alike, and I think it's really important that people know that if you have a dream of any kind, you have the right to see it through.
No, yeah, that's definitely true. And I definitely wanted to ask about you guys as a team, how you guys all met each other and decided, because I know you started the flagship, and like I've seen from Cap's videos, like around like maybe 2017, 19, he met you, and then everything fell into place, and you guys figured out what you guys' roles are when it comes to the company. So I wanted to ask, how did you guys all meet, and how has like it developed now to where you guys are the machine that you are today? I want to say machine because like honestly, you guys are doing the thing all in your perspective, like areas that you guys excel in.
Sure. That's a good question there too. Yeah, it was in 2019, 2018. It was right before the pandemic. We were playing, it was, back in the days of PSN, and we were playing like different video games online, and it was big groups of us that were playing games. And I met Otis where through some means I sent Otis the flagship book we have, Slade Nashram, to review when he had at least with part of a different company that reviewed comics, things of that nature. And
Mm-hmm.
him and I became friends while he was reviewing that book. And then him and I started playing games together online. And there's a huge group of them of friends who were basically blurs that played different games. I think it was at the time it was like NBA 2K, 18 or whatever it was, or 2K19. And then it transitioned to like Ghost of Tsushima and then different things. And we always get on there and talk about stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually heard Charlie's voice for like a year before I saw his face. And then yeah, yes, and so it was weird. A weird way to meet somebody was to talk to them for a long time. I have no idea what they look like, or and at the time, I think he was also like in high school or something at the time. He was a kid, or it was crazy.
Oh
But that's
wow.
kind of how I got. So I met Otis through him reviewing one of my books, and I met Charlie through playing video games online before I actually saw his face for quite a while. And we got along so well. It's very much because for those who don't know, I am significantly older than Charlie and a bit older than Otis. So it's pretty much
Yeah.
like brothers, pretty much. Like it's very much like the way I think of it is like a Simon, Alvin, and Theodore relationship. For those who don't know, that's the Chipmunks. But that's kind of how I see it.
That's, that's awesome, and definitely wanted to ask this question, because we have Cap in spirit. Definitely wanted to talk about Reaper, and recently, issue 2 came out, and how has that been for you guys? Being able to see the success of it through the company, and like the Kickstarter came out for 2, and it's also going to come out in the upcoming project that we're going to talk about soon. So, how has it been for the development of like Reaper, and like seeing like its inception to now?
It's wild. It's very much. Have you seen or even heard of the Karate Kid, Lizzie?
Mhm.
Okay. Uh, at the very end of Karate Kid, when Daniel's son like pops off and hits Johnny Lawrence in the face and wins the tournament, and
Yeah.
Danielson is being hoisted up there. He said, we did it." And then you see Mr. Miyagi. He gives that GIF nod. That's how it feels for me watching Charlie do everything Captain, do everything he's done with the Reaper. Because for years, literally for years, he talked about making a book, and he talked about making that book in particular. And I read the initial like outline he had for the story, and it kind of helped him with the actual script itself. But it's mainly his own blood, sweat, and tears he put into it. But for a while, he didn't actually. He was a bit nervous of putting himself out there, And I'm so proud of him to see what he's done with that book with Reaper, and I'm so happy to see how successful it's been, because it's pretty much, it's just all his love for so many different types of stories, whether they be horror or anime influenced. And I'm so glad it's been received so well by our community, by blurs of course, but also people that just love reading good stories, people that love good comic books, and things of that nature. So it's very rewarding. I feel like I'm very, very proud of Miyagi watching Daniel-san, kick people in the face.
I like how you put that. That's a really nice way of saying it.
I'm old. I'm very, very old. Yeah.
No, you're good, because like I've had everybody of like different ages on the show. I think probably the oldest. 60s or
Oh,
70s.
okay.
Shout
Young
out
guy,
to
young buck.
shout out to yeah, like my parents would say, you're only getting younger. You know, the more your birthday, the younger. So
Like your
I,
parents.
so I was going to, yeah, shout out to Auntie Ania Boo, probably one of the old, on the older side. I don't know her age. I'm not going to guess the age, but she's on the older side. But yeah, I've definitely had people on the older side. We love all types of blurs, no matter the age.
I love it. I love it. Right on. Beautiful.
Yeah, definitely. And also, I just wanted to ask, how has it been? Because I've seen that you guys have gotten not only like more attention in terms of like the community to push out your projects. Like, you know, shout out to like Zell Comics. I've seen that he's been doing a lot of reviews for you guys, like on the media side. So he's been sharing things for, you know, the website, getting people to know that. You know, he's talked about different comics like Blackmore and Slade and the Shade and everything like that. Then Cap also went on Blur's Eye View recently. I saw that in Room Full of Blurs. He was promoting things. I've seen you guys, like what you did for me. You've gone to different creators in the Blur community, not only, you know, giving the comic and asking them to, you know, share their opinions, but you've also been doing like different like, you know, little quotes that you can do for the reviews as well. So I would say, how, like, what has been the like transition of trying to get this type of attention? Like what have you guys had to do to be more comfortable doing that? It's not easy to do all these things that you're doing, especially like asking people, getting reviews back, going on podcasts. It can be nerve wracking. So what has been that process for you to get to this point where you guys are, you know, you guys are trying to be everywhere?
Yeah. No, that's a very good question. And first off, thanks again, Lizzie, because you were, for those who don't know, Lizzie was kind enough to review one of our Blackmore. You read a couple of our things, but you reviewed Blackmore.
Yeah, Blackmore, and I forgot. I can't remember.
It was Slade and Ash.
Yeah, Slade and Ash. You asked for the two quotes. Yeah.
Yeah, and you did a great job for both of those things. And so thank you very much for that, Lizzie. It is a very different thing, because for the most part, I'm somewhat more of an ambivert.
Yeah.
I can enjoy being around people, but I also enjoy keeping to myself. Lots of blurs are that way, I guess.
Yeah.
So having to make sure you put yourself out there consistently and try to get things going, it can be a bit much, it can be a bit overwhelming. Like I said before, Captain Diesel is very much, even though he's not entirely the most extroverted person either, he's much more of our spokesperson. He's much more used to doing that type of thing. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing to be part of a community. That's one thing I do wish I was better at, was just being more active in the community and building up that kind of those grassroots with people. And I'm glad that we actually are doing that a lot more. I do want to actually have it where we actually have a lot more connection with people, not just locally, but all over. Because I want people, again, the biggest thing is I want people to feel it's all about being inclusive. I want not just blurs, but all people that want to celebrate things that blurs, of course, hold dear, to feel they have a place, not just with us, but just in general. When I was growing up, you know, way back in the tens of the 1800s, there really wasn't as much. I was almost a closet nerd, essentially, because there weren't a lot of people when I was in high school that were watching, you know, anime or were into comic books, and if they were, we didn't talk about it. We didn't have a place to go, a safe place to talk about these type of things. So I kind of want the idea that it's become so almost ubiquitous amongst us to do that. Really warms my heart. If you've seen The Boys, the show The Boys, I saw a report where Jesse T. Usher was being interviewed on the red carpet for the show, what have you, recently. And someone asked him something he's nerdy about. And he said, "Oh, anime," off the top of his head. And she asked him what's his favorite anime. He said DBZ was his favorite character. He said Gohan level 2. And he was right all on top of things. And so, of course, a very prominent, successful actor and in Hollywood, and he's a blur just like us. So I'm glad to see that these kind of things are happening more and more in the community. I'm glad to see that people like us, you, me, Lizzie, of course, the captain too, that we are building more and more of a community as well. That we have so many that there our reach together is going so much is going so far.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, I wanted to, get the people to know like some of the background of some of the stories because it all builds up to talking about the current project and Kickstarter that you have. So definitely wanted to start with Slade and Nashe for people that weren't here at the last show and wanted to know like just the basic synopsis of what the story is about because it's one of the first flagship titles, and thank you so much for letting me get to read as many of the issues as I could before the first interview the first time.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, the thanks again for doing that. The basically the campaign, as you mentioned, the Kickstarter, is called Echelon's the Gambit, and for those who don't know, of course, when it comes to chess, a gambit is more or less like an opening move that you use, like a stratagem, so to speak. And so we're kind of tying that into it's a strategy that we're using to try to get more people aware of the company, as well as, of course, try to raise some money to actually get more funding for us to do more work. And the books where we're doing this essentially is we're having five of our in-house flagship books. The first issue of all these books are going to be in there, along with, of course, one of our intern Bo Garcia. He's an amazing artist. He actually did lots of stuff on webtoons, and one of his premier webtoons is going to be in the book as well as one of our clients. I've already got his permission to mention his name, Jacob Tipton, another great blurred and great. He's also Navy man. He's with the Navy too. But his book is premiering later on this year, and we're doing a little preview for his book in there as well. We have a full smorgasbord of all the things we have. The five books we put in there, the main five books we put in there before, they're from five different genres. You read Slade and Ash, you read Blackmore.
And yeah, it was Slade and Ash, Reaper, Briarlands, Ipswich, and Blackmore's in this Kickstarter, right?
Yes, and then also I think yeah. Those are the main five books, and they're all very different genres. They're nothing at all alike. You read Blackmore, you read Slade and Ash. Those two books, nothing alike. Couldn't be more different, and that's kind of the point. We're trying to show everyone that we'll have all kinds of different genres, all different kinds of stories. That they're all under the same umbrella. They're all in our house, and of course, if they themselves want to tell a different story, it's welcome. We won't turn anybody away for being unique.
Yeah, definitely. And also in the Kickstarter, the Gambit Volume 1 trade paperback, you also have a free sample comic known as The Divine Influence. So I definitely wanted to talk about that as well for the Kickstarter.
Absolutely, yes. So Divine Influence, which which is the captain's favorite book that I wrote that we have, because he literally every day he asked me when the next one's coming out.
Yeah.
But Divine Influence is very much my personal two favorite IPs in the world is Dragon Ball Z meets the Avatar, The Last Airbender. It's pretty much the idea is that spoiler alert, minus mild spoiler alert. The story opens with God being killed by the devil in a big huge battle, and the story kind of features what happens to the world for the angels and for the demons after he's gone. So on Earth, you see kind of the chaos that they deal with, and then finally it turns out that possibly maybe he's born again, and what kind of all the kind of perils that fall with that. So we're at the first issue of Divine Influence is available for free to download, kind of get people aware of what we're doing with Echelon graphic novels. The digital version is available for free to download. It's going over the Kickstarter campaign. You'll see it right there.
Yeah, and definitely, actually, I learned how to share my screen. So for the audience that want to see the Kickstarter, I can actually share it right now. So I'm going to do that right now. So this is something that I'm very happy that I remembered to do. Love it. Right there. So definitely, for those that don't know, they have the $6,000 goal. Currently, they're at 1,357. So actually, while we have this up on the screen, I also heard, from Cap that you guys are planning to do something like this yearly, if anything, where you guys try to each year you try to figure out which titles you going to put each year. So I wanted to ask, what was the planning for something like this? Because like you guys have both mentioned, especially Cap in his different interviews, that this is like a big undertaking to do, because not everybody decides to do this where, they do an issue or a paperback, you know what I mean, where there's different issues from their series and then they want to do it yearly. So how long has it been like planning to do something like this? Because I know it takes time. Like, it's not just something where like we're just gonna do a paperback as a Kickstarter. Like, this is not a thing that like every Kickstarter does.
Right. No, it's the basically, yeah, we definitely want to do this annually. It's more as a showcase. We want to kind of show off everything people have done. We started with, of course, with the first 5 issues of our flagship titles. We want to actually showcase other works as well. We have lots and lots of clients, lots of people that have hired us to bring their books to life. We want to show them too. Like that right there, for example,
Mm-hmm.
that's a page from Ashes Over Neon, and that's the title from our client Jacob Tipton. And he,
Mm-hmm.
of course, so I want to show what he's out there doing. It gives a chance to promote the work that other people have. I mentioned our intern Bo showing his stuff too, making it clear that young people can do it, because our interns are only 19 years old. They're younger people, but showing that everyone, all kinds of art can come from all kinds of ages, all kinds of people. So the idea is pretty much just kind of having an annual celebration of artists. If that makes sense.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think it's a very good idea, and it's a very, I feel like the way, like, just from what you guys represent, the quality and everything like that, I was very pleased to know that you guys were doing something like this. I was actually very happy and like, okay, I see what you guys are doing. Like I knew that, like, he gave me the Kickstarter and everything, but when I finally looked into it, I was like, oh yeah, you guys are really, you guys are serious. Like, to do something like this, you guys are really serious. So I'm proud of you guys.
Thank you very much, Lizzie. I appreciate that. I very much do. Yeah, and also just give a shout out to you. I see your background at your table there. That's dope. You are an artist yourself. Well
Oh
done. Well
yeah,
done.
that's, yeah, for those that like may have not seen the show, and if it's their first time watching it when they watch it back, I do have this in the background, but sometimes it only shows up when at the end, or if there's multiple people on the screen, like, cuz sometimes it spaces it out. So I just have that in the background. Like, that's from not this year. I think last year, no, the year before, because I
Mm.
went to the same convention, but the setup is slightly different. But this is from the year before. I went to a convention in New Jersey called Anime NJ Plus Plus. That was the what this picture was.
Right on. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I see Assassination Classroom up in there. I see. Yeah, because I love that show. Yeah.
No,
Like,
yeah,
is that Yuta on the? No, it's not
which
Yuta.
one? No, no, no. I did JJK, but it was Gojo on one side and Sakuna on the other side. That's what I
Oh,
did.
that's dope. That's dope. Love it.
Yeah,
Well done.
definitely. And I definitely want you to give you a chance to talk about, the different tiers. I have them up here, if you want to share for people that want to back, like, how they can back the Kickstarter.
Sure. So the tiers, we kept it primarily pretty simple. The $30 tier, or the digital tier, that's just a chance to actually have the book, the full. It is the entire book, but it's sent to you digitally. You actually have it on your. Most people these days, of course, do look at things on their computer or their tablets or what have you, or their iPads, even their phones. And we actually have versions of that for people to access. And the book is very, very thick. It's very dense, but we do have it set up that way. It shouldn't be take up too much space on your hard drive. And also, along with that too, even if you get the digital tier for $30, there are add-ons you can have with it, which has original art, original GIFs, original not GIFs, original JPEGs, and higher I-class TIFFs that are sent to you as well, featuring different art from the actual campaign, or stories that are in the campaign, having artwork from them, along with behind-the-scenes stuff. The next tier, of course, the actual physical copy. Again, this is a big, thick, girthy baby. So actually having the physical copy, having it sent to your home, along again with that book, it has all the 5 main flagship titles in there. It has our interns webtoon in there. It has our the preview for our client's book in there. And again, it has lots of behind the scenes original artwork in there too. There's a lot of original artwork that you can't get anywhere else. So having
Mm.
that physical copy in your hands is a very one of a kind thing. And also this whole trade that we're doing, this actual the gambit,
Mm-hmm.
we've done that before. We won't have it at conventions. We won't sell it
Mm.
on the street. If you want to get
Mm.
it, you have to get it from the campaign itself directly.
Mm. Okay. Yeah, that's very smart. That's very smart, and definitely that's awesome. That's definitely awesome. And also when I know that in this for the Kickstarter, there's going to be like bonus content, like you said, from upcoming series, and I actually wanted to talk about some of the upcoming like releases. So it's Ashes Over Neon, where I know that there's like a sneak peek of that in this Kickstarter, and there's also the Motions and the Legend of Halak, which were some of the upcoming releases.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So the Motions is our the next big flagship book we're doing. That's in house with our one of our partners, Olivia. It's her actual story that she wants to do, and that's a really big project. We're really happy about that. That we actually have we love live everything she's done, and it's a very personal story for her. The Legend of Howlick, that's another one of our clients. That's one of our clients we have for a while, and it's their series is really not to get too in the weeds, but we are in production. I've written the first 14 scripts for that, and we're in production on
Mm.
the third book already. So we're waiting until we have the first four done before we release any. But that's gonna be a really, really big mammoth of a series. It's pretty much gonna be our One Piece. Not to compare ourselves to Oda in any way, but as far as something that's very extensive that we already have planned out for it. But again, it's a very different type of stories. The Legend of Halleck, The Motions, Ash Over Neon, three completely different types of stories. And two different genres, but that's kind of the point. We want to actually have people get, you're going to give something for everybody, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely. And also like going back to the Kickstarter, like some of the flagship titles. Actually, I know we talked about Reaper, we talked about Sid and Ashe, but for people that may not, because I know like on your page, Blackmore has been talked about a lot, Sid and Ashe, and Reaper. But I actually want you to go into like Briarlands and Ipswich as well.
Sure. So Briarlands, that is from our other co-owner Otis East. That was his story. Him and his co-writer Keith Stanley originated. It's very much a combination. It's meant to be like The Wire meets the X-Men in a sense.
Mm,
Um, it's kind of meant to be a kind of more adult, grittier version of like a Static Shock as far as people that have powers or abilities in a
mm,
city that's very much troubled or ridden with crime and everything else.
yeah.
Um, but what you're seeing, the way we set it up in a sense is very much you're seeing the perspective from our main characters. You're seeing the story from their different perspectives, and then
Hmm.
you see how they collide later on, like a Game of Thrones in a sense. And they all have, and their abilities aren't necessarily seen as powers as much as they are almost like curses, so to speak. So it's a kind of a different kind of twist on what it's like to actually have a lot of actual power in a city that doesn't really want you to do so. Want you to have it.
Okay, that's awesome. And
Um,
also, oh yeah, and the
Oh yeah,
second.
you mentioned yeah, Ipswich and
Mhm.
yeah, that was yeah. I think I'm not talking about all these things here. I'm very old. Uh, and Ipswich is meant to be very much kind of like Lord of the Rings
Mhm.
meets something like I used to say Basilisk, but no one knows what Basilisk is. I guess it kind of almost like My Hero Academia in a way, where there
Mhm.
are characters that have again with severe training and everything else, there are people that have the ability to use different types of powers or what have you. And it's set in a fantasy world, very much
Mhm.
akin to something like Lord of the Rings or Berserk. And it's a much more wider, sprawling kind of a narrative. Are you into fantasy or dark fantasy,
Yeah.
Lizzie?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's okay. This may be up your alley, so to speak. Yeah. I wrote this one. This one came out a while ago. Did we have the first four issues are done. The fourth one is going to be released pretty soon. But I wrote this one back in when I was playing The Witcher series, very heavy. So it's kind
Mhm.
of you see some themes from that too. If you're a fan of The Witcher.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard about The Witcher. I didn't get to finish it, but I have heard about The Witcher. I've watched a few episodes.
Okay,
Yeah.
very cool. Did I miss
And
anything?
no, I don't think. Did you miss anything? I don't think so.
We'll find out later in the chat when everyone complains.
No, you're good. I have the same moments where I'm like, did I explain everything? I think I did. I'm not that old. I'm not old. I mean, am I forgetting things? It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. We'll forget. But also, I wanted to ask, how does it feel that it's been 13 years? And was it like specifically you wanted to do it on the 13th year, or it just end up happening? but to
No,
do the
yeah, well, yeah,
Kickstarter.
it wasn't. Yeah, most people I look at 13. I forgot that fear of 13, what that's called. No, it wasn't planned that way, but it's kind of everything timed out right. For so long, I was doing this kind of. I had my co-owner, who I kind of co-founded the company with,
Mm,
Susan L. Holland. But then after that, it was kind of a more solitary thing where it wasn't. It didn't have Charlie and or the captain and Otis and Liv and the interns and so many other people, and the community was a very different landscape back in 2013. So now it seems we have so many people involved, and including you yourself, Lizzie. It seems like the right time to do something like this. We want to kind of get it out there, and we couldn't be happier to actually have so much support already. Regardless of the actual if we hit the goal or not, raising the money, I'm still happy to have just to see so many people in the community just being welcoming us. It's a really big thing. It means a lot to me.
yeah, definitely. I definitely saw a lot of like people in the community, promoting it. Shout out to Urban Sama and like I said, Zell Comics and some other notable people, particularly like within the indie comic sphere, like that have been supporting it. So I'm glad that you've been able to get that support. And I feel like it's just a full circle moment. Like you said, like when you joined, people just heard of the term blurred and they didn't really know about the term blurred until a few years afterwards. So like you were really like in the beginning stages of it, like taking off, like the blur community taking off,
Yeah,
on the platform. So yeah.
yeah. It was weird. The very first, because 2013. I'm sorry, 2014 was we had
Mm-hmm.
their first convention. We went to their first. We premiered the first book at that
Mm-hmm.
convention in DC at Awesome Con, the very first Awesome Con, and there uh, we were at a table. We had our own little table like you had yours, not nearly as pretty, but we had a table, and we had Slade Nash #1,
Mm-hmm.
and it was the cover features, of course, a black. One of the main characters is a black, of course, and as he was standing on the cover, it was so cool because there were a few blurs in the crowd as they're walking to the comic convention, and they saw a black man with a comic book featuring having a black character featured
Mm-hmm.
properly on the cover. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, that's kind of surprising or jarring." Now
Yeah.
I'm glad that it's not nearly as much of an oddity, but it
Mm-hmm.
was very peculiar kind of at the time. So
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that, like, obviously you got through that stage and now, now you're in a space where it's more celebrated than it being abnormal. So I'm glad that you're in that space right now.
thank you so much. Yeah, and thanks for being with us.
Yeah, definitely. And also, I wanted to congratulate you because I saw Backyard Shenanigans. They're having their parallel play date, and you guys have like an art exhibition with the event. So I wanted to ask, how did you guys come across each other, and that you guys getting the opportunity to do an art exhibition for their event?
And that was something that was done by you. You do your research. You were you were out here daily in that pavement. Yeah, that was something again organized by our co-owner Otis East. He's very much the Zorro to our Straw Hats as far as
Yeah.
the muscle behind the scenes.
Hmm.
And he kind of organized that type of stuff. He's trying to get more of our actual artwork in the community itself to show people that we actually are out here doing things,
Hmm.
not just to inspire them, but to kind of just show them that it can be done.
Hmm.
And that's where we're happy. We're really excited to work with them on it.
That's awesome. I hopefully everything goes. It's coming up soon, like within
Yeah,
the next few weeks, like 3 weeks or
very
so.
soon.
So definitely let me know how it goes. And it seems like it's gonna be a fun thing. Like I'm glad that you have a way to show all the different art and everything that like goes into the company. And I wanted to ask, like, when it comes to building your team, you went from just you to all the different artists you have, and they have gone on to do multiple things in multiple areas like Marvel, DC, Dead Space, and some of the like third party, like known, like mainstream comic companies. People that have like worked on the Green Lantern and all these
Mhm.
other issues. You've come a long way. So what has been like some of the process or learning that you've had when it comes to developing your team and creating these partnerships? Because as we said on the last show in 2020, you did get a big deal with one of the companies to help expand the company. So you've gone through a lot of trials and tribulations to get to where you are. So for people that don't know, like some of the journey to get there, you can definitely share.
Sure. Yeah, the biggest thing I'd say is it's very, very easy when you're young and you're first starting out to have an ego about you about certain things. You think you can do everything by yourself. You feel like you don't need help, right? And that was something I had to get past, was realizing, there's so many things I cannot do on my own. I definitely need help. I need so many people, different people that have different strengths that I do not have that can help me in so many other areas. The whole idea that you may get to where you're trying to go on your own,
Yeah.
um, faster because it's just you, but you will get a lot further with others helping you get there. And that's something I had to kind of embrace. So the biggest thing I've learned is just how to appreciate having a team, the value of a team, and that it's okay to trust other people as opposed to being that everyone is out to get you, or that it's you versus the world. Does that make sense?
No, yeah, it definitely makes sense, and I definitely understand how that is, especially with like having a publishing company. Definitely over time, you definitely needed that team because it made all of the difference, you know.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And also, I wanted to ask, what are some of the goals? There's so many things that you guys are doing. I know that we've talked about already, but what are some of the goals that you have for the company going forward, or plans that you have for the company going forward?
Sure. So I guess in the more the immediate sense, we would like to, of course, have more people that want to work with us, more people, the more indie creators or indie artists. Whether if you want to actually you are an artist yourself, trying to make a bigger portfolio. You're trying to create more art, make more books. We love to work with you as far as helping people, help people, young people, hone their craft as an
Mm-hmm.
artist. We also would love to have young people that are creative themselves, actually want to tell a story. We'd love to bring you on as a client, help you do that more. Kind of keep expanding our own personal roster, and while we expand our actual own stable of amazing talent. Down the road, we of course like to expand to different mediums. I'm pretty sure all blurs here are fans of not just the printed word, we're also fans of things like anime, TV shows, and film. We would love to have some of our IPs adapted into those different mediums as well. We're behind the scenes. We are working on those things. We have our connections or what have you, but we'd love to see it actually come to fruition down the road. And then even further beyond that, there are other things too where we want to have, as far as the community, we're trying to have trying to be involved in schools a lot more, because I think that I was a school teacher for a couple of years as well, Lizzie, and it's amazing to see how much young people respond to things like manga and anime and graphic novels and stuff, and seeing how you can actually help people learn to read and appreciate reading and writing through comic books and graphic novels in manga is great. So we're trying to actually be involved with the school system that much more too, as far as being involved with children in the community.
Yeah, that's definitely great, and I think that I'm excited because I feel like if it's not if, it's when it comes to you guys. So definitely, I'm manifesting it when that comes. I'm gonna be right there, like, oh, I knew it was gonna happen.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. And we love to have you with us. Since you are a master artist yourself, we're more than merrier. Come on board.
Yeah, definitely. And also, you got to do another fun interview in February. I saw Tell Me with Sam. You were part of their like first episode, the Tell Mr. Podcast. And I just wanted to ask because I know like it is not your comfort zone to do it, but the fact that you're able to do this show, like I just wanted you to talk about it because it was on the page and everything like that.
Sure. No, of course. So thank you for bringing bringing that up. So the Toby podcast, that was Sam Stokes, her first episode, and she's one of my best friends out here in California, and that was literally meant to be. She gave me the opportunity to talk about what it's like to have to more or less make comic books and graphic novels, and what it's like to celebrate that kind of quote unquote niche being a blurred and things that we like, of course, in our community. It was a lot of fun, kind of informing her on that, because she herself is not a blurred, so she didn't know hardly anything.
Yeah, I saw the clip.
Yeah, there's a part where she literally couldn't remember that. She's like, "What is Stan Lee's name?" It's like, "You
Yeah.
just said his name is Stan Lee." So it's so having that conversation. I like the idea of trying to knock down walls as opposed to putting them up with all the gatekeeping and everything else. If people want to, of course, learn more about what it is that you and I value in the blur community, I'm here for it 100%. It may be a little bit awkward for me at times, granted, I love doing it. I love the conversations more than merrier.
No, yeah, I saw some of the clips, and I think it was, I appreciate her for really like actually like she, because it sounded like she genuine, like it looked like she genuinely wanted to know. So I do appreciate it. It was funny, like some of the clips I saw.
Yeah, she was very very sweet, very innocent person. But yeah.
She was like, it was so fun because you were like trying to explain like what a comic was, like a paper, like all these things, and I was just
Wait, what is this thing in my hands? A comic? Yes, it's a comic book. You read it with your eyeballs in your head. Yeah, yeah.
that's hilarious. That's
That's
hilarious.
lovely pieces. Lovely pieces. Yeah.
Oh man, that's great. That's great. I'm glad that you know that you're, because I was in the same boat for a little bit when I was bending before I transitioned to try to do different events that aligned. Like I was doing like pop-ups, and like you said, sometimes it's okay to do that, as awkward as it was. As awkward as it was, like you're the only person that's like doing anything related to like comics and like well and like just like anime related stuff, and it's like, oh, you know, my cousin or my this knows
Mm-hmm.
about this. They don't know anything on the table, but a lot of the people like, you know, shout out to the early days of the people that like showed me these events. Sometimes they would try to show me other events because they were like, we love you for being here repping, like the only one repping this
Mm-hmm.
particular thing, but here's something that I think will help. Like I appreciate you guys that like that try to do that. You know, I haven't been to the pop-up scene in a while, but sometimes like this, like I'll go to particular ones. Like I'll go to the ones that are like more art related now, but
Mm-hmm.
still shout out to the ones that allow me to come to their normal pop-ups and
Yeah,
like to represent in that way. So.
of course, absolutely. Because it is one of those things where you want to represent the community, the blurs and everything, of course, that we are really well, but you want to seem inviting to people. You want to bring in more people. Again, we want to increase our numbers, not exclude people. And it can be a bit of a culture shock or jarring to noobs, so to speak, if they have no idea what's going on. And there are some people in our community that can be a bit, gatekeepy. So I do everything I can to kind of ease anyone into the world of the weird, the world of the wonderful as much as possible, no matter who they are. Yeah, and you did a great job yourself. I've seen your interviews you had over the years. You're really good about that type of stuff. You're very friendly yourself.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And also, what I love is like, you know, as Cap mentioned in his like videos promoting the company as well, you guys have so many different genres, like when it comes to the different stories that you have, like fantasy, horror, psychological, steampunk, supernatural. There's even some titles we talked about before, you know, like The Screen Boy, which was the one that we talked about the last time, and you know, Anne of Wisteria. Hopefully, I pronounced that right.
Close. Yeah, I know Wisteria.
I know
Close enough.
Wisteria.
Close enough.
And yeah, like you have so many different like genres, and I wanted to ask, how does it feel that you have so many different like genres when it comes to your company?
Sure. It does feel in a way liberating because it's a chance. It gives us a chance to explore so many different avenues of storytelling. I think one thing too is that a good story will feature pretty much parts of multiple genres in it. Even Wizard of Oz has horror, comedy, fantasy. All these things are in that one movie there. So if you have the ability to embrace all the different elements that make stories so great, so wonderful, you should do so. But then also having the main genres themselves out there, it gives people who would come to your site that may be looking for one thing an opportunity to see something else they may enjoy. At the conventions, for example, like Blackmore, I know you've read Blackmore,
Mm-hmm.
is a very hardcore steampunk book with a young lady on the cover of it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it leaps out at a certain audience, a very niche demographic. But once they're there, they may realize, oh, wait a minute, I also do enjoy this type of fantasy story over here, or I do have I do like maybe some Blumhouse horror. There's a horror book over here, like Reaper or something like that. So it's trying to find a way to, as opposed to writing one book that appeals to everyone, writing several books, writing different types of books that appeal to different types of people, and then giving them a chance or an opportunity to actually kind of explore outside the comfort zones. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it definitely makes a lot of sense. And I could understand it being like liberating because I've seen, you know, even from like certain companies that I like certain shows. For example, for people that know about the Amazing Digital Circus, they're under a company, and they put their shows on YouTube. A indie company called Glitch, and there's a video talking about their shows are great and everything, and they have like a specific niche they want to be in. But what ends up happening, and has happened with them, is that sometimes so the audience is like, we love that this is like the brand of content that you want to give us, but they kind of want them to do other things, and they kind of try to pressure them to do other things. And there's nothing wrong with like doing that, but sometimes they have to understand that some companies don't want to do that. So when you have a company that is like, you don't have that problem, because it's just like, okay, you want action, you have this, you want horror, you have this. You will never be put in that box or be told that you have to do something, because like, okay, well, you didn't like this series, or you don't want this particular, go do this. Like, you're not tied into a box where people are telling you what you should or should not do with that specific box. So I think that's a good thing.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, again, like I said before, it's meant to be inclusive, and obviously, if you try to make one product or one thing for everyone, it oftentimes appeals to nobody.
Yeah.
So if you're able to niche down on something, for example, Captain, the way he did with Reaper, it'll very much appeal to people who like that type of horror-esque involving like Grim Reapers, and people who are fans of the anime or manga Bleach. It's for that audience. But obviously, that's not for everybody. It's just like, not going to put everybody. Screen Boy is meant to be much more of a kid's story that's kind of somewhere between The Matrix and Back to the Future. That type of story wouldn't appeal to somebody who's into Blackmore, who's into steampunk, isn't necessarily, and it doesn't have to. There's a place, there's something for everybody, but it's not meant to be. It doesn't have to be. It's not diluted by having to be kind of spread apart. It's that genre is able to exist over here safely, freely from other genres, and you're able to enjoy it on your own.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And I can't wait to see like what other stories that you guys decide to tackle and everything like that, because it definitely seems like you guys are having a good time with it.
We definitely are. Yeah, and let me ask you, if I can ask you a question too. I mean, if you were able to tell a story, any story that you wanted to tell, is there a certain type of? Do you have a story in mind already that you like?
That's actually a good question. I've never actually like thought about it, but if I had to like think of like a story, probably like just based on the genres that I like, because I have a thing, like I like multiple genres, but I have a thing, well, particularly in anime, because that's what makes me the nerd. Like I really the anime nerd.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm
Give me
really
your company, Anime Inc. Yeah.
I'm really into like psychological, like mystery. That's one of them. Like there's obviously I like the shonen, I like the action, but something about like you don't know what's happening next. Like there's always like a twist or turn, or just something psychological that deals with like the mental. I don't know what it is, but like that like appeals to me as well. Honorable mentions for that is like, I don't know if you know these ones, but Paprika. It dives into for those who may not know, it dives into like the dream world, and they're trying to do it to help patients like that have issues or mental problems, to try to figure out what the root cause of it is. But it goes south because you're dealing with technology. It's almost like, think of like Inception, and the issues that happen in Inception, it happens in there in a much crazier much crazier
Vivid.
scale. Yeah.
Yeah, so Satoshi. So yes, 100%, of course. Satoshi Kon is the wonderful gentleman who made that. He passed away, unfortunately, but he made Paprika. He also made. Have you seen Paranoia Agent? It was a
Yes,
series. He did fantastic.
Perfect blue.
Which
Yeah.
is like, I would say is opus. So, but the thing is, Paprika definitely it literally influenced Christopher Nolan for Inception. He admitted it, and then Perfect Blue directly influenced Darren Aronofsky when he made Black Swan. Right. So those are some of the best. You got highlighted some of the single best psychological thrillers in anime that exist. But yeah, those are great ones.
So if I were to write a story, I think it would be along those lines, just like kind of, and I guess like dealing with like mental health and this, that, and the third. So I think if I had to think about it, because I had a period of time where I didn't know that like what I was experiencing, because I'm a calm person, but when it comes to like making sure that I'm healthy and I'm good, and over the years and things that I realized I have health anxiety. So I would love to have a story covering health anxiety, because the thing is about health anxiety, it's like that one that is not believed, and then depending on your disposition, it shows up in people in different ways. And it's actually a thing, but it's not, it's accepted, but it's not like generalized anxiety. You get what I'm saying? It's not like depression and stuff like that. It only happens when, something happens to you out of the blue, and everybody handles it differently. I would love to have a story that actually talks about that and how it affects people. You know what I mean? Because sometimes nothing bothers you when it comes to that because you got used to it. Then when you're not used to it, you're like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, so I would love to have a story about that. Just like when people talk about mental health in their comics, and people are now getting more comfortable to talk about that because everybody has different things that they go through, even if it's like minuscule things. But that people don't like to cover because they don't know how the audience is going to, deal with it, or if they're gonna actually believe it or whatever the case may be. But I think if I were to write a story, something like that, I wouldn't know how to go about it. I would probably need a team and help for that, like that would know how to do that properly. But that would be one of the things.
That's fantastic. That's beautiful. I love how you put that also, Lizzie. That's great. And you're right. There was obviously for a long time the whole stigma of the idea of PTSD or trauma, or mental health issues, that type of stuff. It's made some advancements, yes, but of course it's still a long way to go. And I love that you want to tell a story about that. Ironically enough, that's what the emotions is all about. That it's more or less about the emotions we feel based off the trauma we're experiencing. With Olivia, so lives in that kind of stuff as well. Olivia as well. But yeah, I think there's definitely 100% a place for those kinds of stories. One of my favorite movies of all time is Inside Out, which is exploring the whole idea too. It's obviously seen from the lens of a child, but it's still a highly effective idea. And seeing these type of things, as far as like you mentioned with Perfect Blue or Paprika and everything else, it's definitely a fertile ground for storytelling. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think it would be something like that, or just how you said you're ambivert or like introverts. That's something that I don't think they talk about it often as well. It's like, like the inside joke, like, oh, you're the introvert. But I would love people to talk about the nuances of it, because it's not as simple as, like, this already. It's not as simple as like, oh, you don't talk to people. That's not how that's not how an introvert or
Battery.
ambivert,
Yeah.
like, going more in depth with it, besides people that go on the whatever psychological type the thing and try to get their personality quote. It would be good to dive into that as well. So
Of course. Yeah. 100%. It could to inform as well as entertain. I agree. I
yeah, of
agree.
course. And one of the last questions I was gonna ask is just the question I asked about support in the Blur community, and I was gonna ask, what do we do well so far to support and uplift each other within the community? What can we do better just to go in the right direction and continue to grow and build in a better way to build the community up further? Because everybody has a different opinion based on what they do.
Sure. I think one thing you had right there is kind of you highlighted it just then, as far as being aware of the mental state or mental condition people may have been going through.
Hmm.
There's so much strife, and I mean, right now the world is a mess, obviously. So try to be as patient as you can with your fellow man, your brother, your sister. See where they're coming from, and try to help them with that. Help them on their journey in some way. Everybody has their struggles, and so try not to judge them or condemn them, but try to help them with them, and also try to be willing to go a little bit above and beyond, not just like the pat in the back, or but actually do a little bit more. Actually, try to, when you ask somebody how they're doing, genuinely listen for the
Yeah.
answer. That type of stuff. It can be as simple as that.
That, I think you're the first person to actually say that as an answer to this
Mm.
the question. So I really do appreciate that because it's important. I think it's a good thing that you mentioned that, because I think sometimes some of the conflict like we have in the community, and a lot of times like you don't know what somebody's going through when you know you guys are having the back and forth, and maybe you decide to share it on social media. You don't know what's going on, when you did that, like what's going on behind the scenes, or you could have talked it out outside of social media. There's things like that, like if there's more, I guess, empathy and understanding, like I have mutuals and stuff, like how somebody on the show mentioned having they check in, like they're a group, shout out to Urban Sama, And the
Yeah.
whole group over at Urban Summit, they talk about how like because they have a podcast together, like the whole group, and they do like check-ins every time they do the show, and just in general see how they're doing. And I feel like that's important too, because sometimes that makes somebody's day. You never know. I've it's happened to me where I've checked in on people and they're like, I appreciate it, and I was just like, well, you're welcome. So yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Like I said, you have a good heart, Lizzie. That's great. Yeah, it's something that we should do. I mean, it's how often do you actually just have a person just like you said, just how you doing? And check on you, make sure you're okay. Just what's going on. And I think it's sometimes we have the proclivity just to so I'm good or I'm well, and it's not really be forthright with actually with the actual honest emotions or actual things we're going through. So it works both ways. Is to yes listen when someone actually has something to say, but also be willing to trust somebody enough to say something earnest. If that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, I think like you said, I think it's just conditioning us to do that. It
Yeah,
could be because we've had prior experiences where we try to and it's not taken well, or is dismissed. So that's just like it's a coping mechanism for a lot of us, because it's just like as we say we're okay, we don't have to open up that, I don't know whether it's a trauma or the wound, and have it thrown back at us. So it's really just it's just the way it is. Sometimes it's just a coping mechanism, and sometimes we just go with the coping mechanism to get by. So
of course, survival. I got you.
yeah. Definitely. So, thank you so much for coming back on the show, talking about the Kickstart and everything you guys have going on. I'm excited to see the new developments, and hopefully, you had a good time again.
Of course, I would. Yeah, I wouldn't speed through LA traffic, and run over babies if I didn't. So yeah, absolutely. I love coming on here. I love talking to you. I consider you a friend. So yeah. So thanks so much for having me on here.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, as long as you were safe at the
Yeah,
speed
it's safe enough.
limit.
I mean, it's LA, so it's safe enough.
It's not like my husband's like, no, I just went 80 miles per hour. It's okay. It's,
It's just 80 miles. It's 80
it's
miles.
fine. And I'm sitting there like, please don't cry. But yeah, definitely for the people that want to follow what you guys are doing over at Echelon Graphic Novels, what's coming up, the project, want to support the Kickstarter, definitely plug in where you want people to follow you and where to tune in.
Sure. So there's a couple places. Obviously, you can go to Echelon, or I'll spell it out: ECHELONG novels.com. Of course, you can go to Kickstarter.com, and of course, just type in Echelon, or if you type in ECH. If you go to Kickstarter, it'll pop up. Then it's that easy. That's just a weird word. Also, of course, you can go to Captain Diesel's YouTube channel. If you type in Captain Diesel, it's there's for the dojo or Captain's Dojo. Check him out there on that site. He recently celebrated hitting 10,000 subscribers. So thank you all again for all the support and love. And yeah, that's about it. And we're on Instagram as well. Our Instagram is just Echelon G Novels, spelled the same way. But yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. And thank you guys that may watch back, supported when we promoted the show and everything like that. I really do appreciate it. So for those that may not know what I do, hi, my name is Lizzie. I'm part of AnimeInkArt. So basically we started in 2021, and we wanted to sell our artwork. We started with Redbubble. We still traditionally draw, and then we digitally edit. That's our way of like putting our stuff on merch. It became a style, and that's what we did. And then going forward, Anime Inkar was born, and from there it's expanded because we like to do a lot of things. So from there, we always wanted to support. Once we found more blurs in the community, we got excited and we decided to share the different creators and get to network with them as we're doing what we're doing. So that's how, for some people that know of Anime Inkar Black Brand Spotlights, where I highlighted people on my page, shared as much content as I could in the stories, and then plugged in where to follow. That's how I started out. As I network with other people, then it kind of turned into Anime Inkar Live Talks, but it's one of the newer things in the past 3 years. We started in September 2023. We have the show Anime Inkar Live Talks. As you saw, we talk with different blur creators, talk about their journey. It's mostly about them. You don't have to know any random anime topics. It's really about you, your journey, what you do, how we can support each other better in the community. And if you want to be part of the show, we have the link tree in the Anime Inkart, page. We also cosplay as well. It was a way, started from closet cosplay. to now we try to do full on cosplays just because. And when we do art, sometimes if it's with known characters, we try to cosplay them. But shout outs to the people that have allowed us to just do regular cosplays, delving into OCs a little bit. Shout out to Taco Noir. There's something I can't say yet. Once I'm able to say it, that related to Taco Noir, you guys will know. Do not comment and ask what it is. This is a thing I do where I just hint that something's coming. But once it's complete, I'll let you guys know. But we are affiliates with Otaku Noir. So we were their cosplay model in 2025 for their calendar. My cosplay is black. We also are Zanya Callis, an original character that we created for their HTBU Magic School. So if you go into my link tree in the bio, you can see the character that I created for that. And also, we have a code. If you use code AnimeInkArt, you will get free shipping off your order. The Sirens box is coming out. You have 2 days left to pre-order. Y'all should do that. It's related to Sirens and R&B month, and it's gonna be everything black. Just think everything blurred in a mystery box. They do it every quarter. This is one of the quarters. Please don't miss out. Use the code, everything like that. As well as thanks to everybody that supported Blurs Unite for giving us opportunity grant last year. We also work for Critical Care Comics now. We just shared a post on our page. So I'm an agent. I don't cosplay. I don't have any Marvel and DC characters. But if you want to be a hero within the organization, you dress up as Marvel and DC characters. We go to the hospitals. In New York chapter, we have Jacoby Hospital. We see the children. They go in their costumes, greet them. We give them toys and comics, to spread the smiles on their faces. And it started in Las Vegas, New York, and now South Carolina. If you want to be part of it, definitely check out the Critical Care Comics, the Instagram, and go to their page. You can either donate or sign up to be a member. If it's New York chapter, you never know. We might be interviewing you, so no pressure. But as long as you're down for the cause, we appreciate it. So we're going to be on Sunday. We're going to be at Forest Hills Comic Con convention because we got a table to talk about the organization. My side quest is AniTomoCon. For those that know about AniTomoCon, it's in Japan Village. It's an anime and gaming convention. We'll be there to promote Critical Care Comics. And if you want to catch me at a con, we'll be at Anime NYC and DreamCon for the first time. So that'll definitely be fun. And cosplays are coming, one in July, and we'll see. As you can see, there's a bunch of stuff we do. So definitely check AnimeInkArt 1, AnimeInkArt Live 1. And we're also on Facebook, TikTok. It's there. Check it. But, yeah, definitely check everything in Linktree. And with that, we're signing off. Bye, guys.
Busy wave.
See you later.